and welcome back to Ace Attorney. Today we'll be continuing with our episode 5 and we're starting with the trial. So let's load the game. February 24th, 9:41 AM. Okay. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday, I was indisposed. Hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. Just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighter, so... So, how did it go? It's a Mr. Wright suspect. Police are clueless. I figured as much. Just struck a plea bargain. Plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't see capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you. Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Is this guy? We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. It belonged to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. It's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we are dealt. Isn't that right, Mrs. Sky? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Well, I'll do that. Why not? February 24th, 10 AM. Court is now in session for the trial of Mrs. Lana Sky. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as a prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. But that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things. Even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well. Let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I'm Officer Mike Meekin, sir. Occupation is, it would be murderer, sir. Oh no. So you're telling us you are a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir. Actually, what we would like to hear... Sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. Person whose action adults can possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir. As you wish. After all, I'm part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. I can't fault him for the lack of enthusiasm. Witness his testimony. Okay. Although it's not on my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life, then I did it. After that, I passed out, until another officer smacked me awake. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto the others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. See, then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. Okay. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room today. Okay, tell me more about it. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I'm in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes, now there's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir, the lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir. I wasn't sure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around. And I relocated to the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? Spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. Okay, let's press him on that. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card. Am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? Here it is, I found it. This is the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir, it's 498-9596. That's my number, sir. You see, huh? But the number 498-9596 is shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. First time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. The second time is when I went to get him after everything settled down. I see. It was during that second time when... Yes, sir. That's when I spotted the man on the security screen. Okay, data added. IDs have all entered. Yeah, I already have that. It's updated, okay. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. Yes. You were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir. A knife! Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got his gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool hand, you wouldn't be... I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. Fought for my life, then I did it. What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? No, I don't look like the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant. So I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? Spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. You see, he must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then... the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir. After that, I passed out, until another officer smacked me awake. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up at the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir, the Blue Badger, sir. We turned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? Got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gunn delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The chief delivered it? What is that? A videotape? Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. What? I specifically asked if there was such a tape. I was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word, murder, sir. It scares me. A video of a real murder. What are we getting ourselves into? Oh no, it's the Blue Badger. Okay. That's that guy. So he's opening that. That fell down. Okay. So the police officer comes in. He gets stabbed. Then he fights. Then the camera pans away. Then he's gone. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell is that wiggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire criminal affairs department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? I have the videotape. There's one thing I wanted to check on the videotape. Can I watch it again? Yes. Oh yeah. So as you can see, on the start, there's no cloth. If I watch the entire thing, there's a cloth hanging from the first security box. That's from what I noticed from this footage. Yes, well, anyways, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room and some sort of activity take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that alright with you, Miss Officer Meekins? Yes, sir, as you wish, sir. Okay, mystery man. His face can be clearly seen in the video. Clearly seen, okay. There's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. How do you know? I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. It can be faked. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. How do you know? What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead. Everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. I'll just press him on everything. Okay. His face can clearly be seen in the video. Press. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? The face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would be classified as the latter? The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you? Oh yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see? Yeah, that's a good trait for police officer. No, I'm sure it was him. I bet my badge on it. But there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. Press. But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen. Since his face can be identified in the video, only you can verify it. Why is everyone looking at me? I had to label your stares as disturbing or... Meekins. Yeah. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please, be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claim the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him. I mean, he opened the locker, which requires Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. About these lockers, is there no other way to open them? No, sir, I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir. I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. If the man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to its registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir. This too. The locker he opened is a connection with Detective Goodman's locker, sir. How do you know that information? Heard rumors, sir, from people in the know, sir. People in the know? Workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. Also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. For the record, open locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. Verify this information through a more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. So it must be him, no one else could have unlocked it. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video, the man's face. Sir, if I may say something, sir. Please do. After all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. It was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. Is there a problem with the video? Yes, there is. I saw the other safe being opened, the other locker. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿. Propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. They would want me to point it out. That's fine. Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. Point out a problem in the video. This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. Set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Take a good look to be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? Okay, it's right here. I just need to fast forward. The next scene should be it. Actually, no, the one after this. Right here. Pause. This one. The thing that's strange about this video would have to be this. Hold on a second, I need to use my eye drops. Well, I don't get it. And would you mind if I borrowed your eye medicine? Don't look at me with those bleary eyes. Before your eyes get too teary, perhaps you should think this through again, What do I do? Play the video again. Maybe I'm gonna click on the actual cloth rather than... Yeah, I'll point at the actual cloth rather than the part of the video. Okay, let's go. Fast forward again. Now let's go back. Forward. Back. One more time. And next time I'm gonna pause it. This thing. The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Yes, that is strange. Something certainly seems unnatural about that. What could it mean? Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Wright, but you seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise. The point? What are you looking for is one thing and the one thing only. Something that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman. Oh yeah. Phew, I almost walked right into the defense's trap. I'll place him under arrest, sir. Rats, I need to slow down and tackle these things one piece at a time. Now what do? What? But I did that. Very well. Okay, maybe there's a different one. That was definitely a good contradiction though. Oh, I misclicked. Maybe didn't have like a hand or something. Wait, let me check this. I wanna see the murder photo again. It's not the photo of the body. I need a photo of the body. I don't have those. Okay, let's go again. Oh yeah, true. Look at this. Look. See this? Lit up. It means it's unlocked. The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Makins. Sir, do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, the sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's remove it a little earlier. You just kidding me? Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit! Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Ah! Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? Very simple, Your Honor. The locker was unlocked on the day of the crime. The locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered. And the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know! It must have been broken down! Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's unlikely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor. Yes. Why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor. Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Maybe something like jam the system sensor? Something jam the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's got to be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker was unlocked. Okay, let's fast forward. If something was jamming we should be able to see it now. So let me just slow it down. This was blocking the sensor, this glove. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out of when doors opened. Often fall out and roll great distances when I open car doors, sir. You can be sure. That item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? Sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Oh, come on, don't replay the same video 15 times. This wiping wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of the 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes. The object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also need to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene, it just might have been something that fits the description. Sir, by insulator, you don't mean... I think I finally got this figured out. Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker room? I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. It is the tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. If that isn't the case, the lamp lit attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Makins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. Order, order, order! So, are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility, and nothing more. The victim in this video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you are referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well. Begin your testimony. Mystery Man 2. Okay. There's one other thing that proves that Detective Goodman, sir. Enter the evidence room, the one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. An ID card record. I see. The ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing that strikes me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due to transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases left for transferal there, and most were already cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination. Okay. There's one other thing that proves the man, okay? He's gonna tell us. To the evidence room must use the ID cards. 58421A9. Yeah, but the card was on the other scene, so how is that possible? Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's card right here. Found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. Underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. A very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. The lost item report is only half completed, but it shows that Detective Goodman has lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can say for sure, there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room is not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Order! 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 Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room, Officer Meekins, encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. The victim in this video is fake, and the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... I guess that's right. Something wrong, Mr. Wright. Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well. Seems you finally realized Exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is fake, which means murder did not take place. The police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at the one location, the underground parking lot. The prosecutor's office. The murderer being Mrs. Lana Skye, the defendant. Evidence is compelling. Trustworthy witness. Served the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. Activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. That's so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Shit. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked into the right at the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. However, it cannot be said that it unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth, Your Honor, if this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. The prosecution prepared? Sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. Not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. I have to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean? Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, who do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. Prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Well then, Mr. Wright, this person whom you have to testify, what is his or her name? Jake Marshall. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? Can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he worked in the police department. We should need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Okay. Will the prosecution prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. The court is now in recess. Okay, that's the first part done. That's nice. Defendant lobby number 2. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? What do you mean? Call for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. No, you're the one who knows everything. No. always know everything. Why didn't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can he be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Huh. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥𝐬, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. To top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey, hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. Okay, so have you brought what I asked? Oh, in this, right? My apologies, detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when I'm making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought that it was you who asked me. Did it bother you to bring me SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. SL9 incident? Lana, that's... Thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you. The Chief Prosecutor were a witness in that case. Mrs. Sky was a witness? Files for the 𝐒𝐸𝐞𝐜𝐬 killings solved 2 years ago. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murderers. Oh, what? Now you've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma? But why? Why is your name in here? What? My name isn't there? I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it was as 𝐒𝐸𝐞𝐜𝐬 killings. 𝐒𝐸𝐿𝐻? No, Lana. Over it. No. Emma, wait. He ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry about I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. To get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. Take a good look at this file. Alrighty. That was the first part of the trial. Now we go into the second part. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Mrs. Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. Officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Okay. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner. I was just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross the intersection when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know! You're Patrolman! As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You are in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? Desperado's soul is as boundless as desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Oh no, this is gonna be annoying. My job. Oh, it's actually normal English. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone shirt. He said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day. That ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you are out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Where are you? I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can say I care for your beard, so you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? It's not being very helpful. It's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses. Now, so don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, it's all yours. Let's question him about where he was on the day of the murder. Well, of the attack. Yeah, let's read this. Press him on that. What are you doing in a place like that? Eating spaghetti. Not even angels take long lunches can beat that Paros Vongo Sapia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has to at least taught you a lesson. This is strange. This is usually what Edgeworth says. You don't want to race this year? Okay, let's present the evidence on him. Which would be this. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. This isn't real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. Only wish it were, officer. You see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? Blood was wiped away. However, luminal test clearly revealed this. Hello, Officer Marshall. It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. Take it as you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. Okay. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murder touched the locker when my fingerprints was by chance. Bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it. Fair, but there was a cloth. The witness's explanation appears valid. Although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. Defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. That's my chance to prove it. Okay. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Let's present the video footage. This evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. Exactly are the evidence. Oh, come on. I know how to connect them, but how do I connect them? Okay. That's fine. Let's press him then. Go back to start. It's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence from press. That's because you, how do you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. See. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. This fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. Must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without even knowing it. Okay. How did you know he was wearing gloves? How do you know that? Maybe a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, though to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐬's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood? In the desert, it's just for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Miss Officer Marshall. Nope. Nope, it was you. I can, yeah, I can do this. Right? I can present this. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? I'm not sure I follow. Clearly, it contradicts my thought. Okay. Objection overruled. I'm losing another point. Maybe we can press him on that? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me in this crime, isn't that right, partner? So, that video is the only direct evidence you have. That video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? This, as you can see. Camera spanning back and forth. Floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculation, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present. Please do so now. Show evidence. Finally, I can do so. Come on. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread careful, Mr. Wright, or I might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us the incriminating thing. Please, okay, fast forward. 3 It goes back. And now I can pause it as it goes once more. Bringing our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Can you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you are in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem that's the only... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner. You got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? It doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so I opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault that he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. Lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Detective 𝐒𝐲𝐬 did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people of the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Only got one word for you, partner. No! Order, order, order. Witness, explain yourself. This is a joke. It's the worst I've ever heard. Sure, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Hola, please answer the question. What is it now? A bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? Seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. Only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Right here. It was right here. Officer Marshall was standing right here. So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there? That's almost incredible as Meekins' rap theory. The chamber's empty, partner. Better reload. What? Now they're ganging up on me. Perhaps you should think a little more about where Officer Marshall was. Officer Meekins should have seen him at the evidence room. That means the only place he could have been... What? I mean, he was there, right? Unless he was near his locker. That way they couldn't be seen. Oh, right, sorry, victim, not killer. My bad. There he was. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like a Detective Goodman. That's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he would know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. After the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed to enter the evidence room. He must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on the ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man was Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. I've got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? You're still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break the detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence providing a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed as the victim? Well, am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you are the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Let me save it here, just for safety. Ah, this can be happening. It's obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. Basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. Rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think that his locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. After the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that the white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. Do you have any evidence so the video is on my only shot? Okay, let's save again. Let's go watch the video. Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why. Okay. So let's watch him. I can see it's the important one. We opened it. Oh. Ah. It's bloody. For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman. Enter the evidence room, though I don't know what to end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. Bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated you all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you are only half as persistent then as you are today, we all would have to be here now, wouldn't we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. Alright, it seems the time has come. Okay, confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by, let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. And I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. Okay. So the supposed victim was really you. Okay. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of large quantity of blood were found on the floor at the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Yeah, let's just press him on the things. Maybe we can figure something out. I had to do it all that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. Press. When you say it, you mean... You even have to ask, partner? SL9 incident. Years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to be completely with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. Incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? The case is closed, only that case leads a detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out evidence. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like a Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did to fool the security camera. The detective ID's card? Stole that for the morning of the incident. That really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. Returned the ID card. Left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. Essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint activated log, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that lock for yourself. But you could, because the rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. It means the Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. Okay. Rest. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? I should say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I don't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of a person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race and his year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. Sorry that turned out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. We knocked Officer Meekins out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught by the camera. So you did your research beforehand. To go into the desert unprepared, don't live long, partner. I don't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. Opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. With our singers on that day, wasn't any murder in that evidence room at 5:15. The blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What, are you blind? The victim shown on the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. You stole the evidence from the locker. Actually... Oh, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? Still missing, Your Honor. Okay, Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? The detective's ID injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you are an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. Witness has been an unusual amount of zeal. But let's hear more. You can just forget about the SL9 incident, you know? Okay, dude, let's use the files, right? Okay, so Joe Darkey was the perpetrator. It was a serial murderer. Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Neil Marshall. Oh, because Neil Marshall died. That's why. That's why he's investigating it. That's why it's his case. Rachel Moss and Jason Knight. It was his brother, I guess, Neil Marshall. That would make sense. Okay. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name, Marshall, is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of the name. 2 years ago, you received the same Lucy Prosecutor Award you got. What? A prosecutor? Must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant. I'm the deputy chief of police. Okay. The group of detectives was part of work under them. We were desperate to prosecute a killer. Joe Darkey. My brother fought Darkey and was killed. That was the first time Darkey left behind any evidence. It was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Darkey. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. That's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more than my brother in death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. It was the last day of the SL9 case. Could have been reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall plans to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. Things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. Exactly the same time as the murder of the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? Got to be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murderer in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one, which in turn... Hey Goa, I plan to return to it, but later on, once like levels move up for everyone, it's actually easier to catch up, because right now it's impossible. It's also not friendly for free-to-play people. Right now, I'm just doing this. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. But wait, the verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. But yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. Only suspect is Lana Sky. The testimony of one Mrs. Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time proving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. Apparent murder on the security camera tape really was fake. I didn't realize it would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Hold it! Your Honor, wait. Emma, the defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright? Are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, I'm asking for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Okay. Okay. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out about the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Darkey killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file. That's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day? I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found in Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐞𝐜𝐬's locker? No fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So, I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student. I'm just an attorney. Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can find something wrong with them... Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. Anyone can save Lana. It's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident in the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by other blood marks. Looking at the floor plans, the handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? You're right. I'm sorry I can be of more use. But still, if you can find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐴's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Let's watch the video again. Oh, Mr. Badger. It's blocking the door. Obviously no one would put a hand there. It must have happened before the Badger was put there, which would mean before between 4:50 and 5:14 is when it happened, the blood imprint. Okay, let's go. I object. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? This is strange. Take a good look at those floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? I mean, something hasn't been drawn on in there? Something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, Which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? This guy. Hello, Mr. Badger. What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. The defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when I put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Ah! That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot on the locker. What? What that means? Just exactly what does that mean? It means it can be done. What do you think? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there. It's right. I think it true scientifically. Huh? On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After I put it down, it would be impossible to leave the handprint on that locker. That must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in? Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor. It's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, on which a trivial amount of blood fell. Problem is, other time, someone bled prior to the struggle shown on the tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. Accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be fake. However, it does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? Demand you show the evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? Summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Marshall who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. Let's check this. Where is it? At 20 PM, maybe? Possible. Must have been before 450. If it was 420, then 450 he could have been, yeah, it's possible, I guess. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? Either the autopsy report or Or this ID card? I guess the ID card, I would say. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the ID card report! Officer Meekins brought the blue badger panel to the evidence room at, see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? Never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Up the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. Clear from the luminal test, the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and the Officer Marshal failed to notice the blood. It means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. It would have just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, clean up the blood. Fortunately, that's physically not possible. That would mean the crime must have been taken place before Mr. Edgeworth in the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card remaining. 777, 7777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? There's no record of his card being used beforehand. He must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777, 7777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777, 7777. That's one 7 too many, Your Honor. Fortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. ID number 777 7777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. You don't have the authority to inquire into such person's identity. That's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against the executive is accepted. Official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? Your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshal. I would appreciate it that you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Yes? No, not to you, to her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. It's not 777, 7777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident. The Cell 9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In the trial 2 years ago, did you really only use the legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? Very fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana? I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. Before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me an investigator in that crime in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't! I I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Lana's remarks caused such a stir. Chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. We'd have to wait until the following day. Okay. Let's leave some questions. We can investigate. Override. Okay, investigation. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. The crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for Joe Darkey killings. Sounds like everyone heard about the Key's killings but me. Lana wanted Darkey convicted badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Darkey's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night of Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Darkey tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother Neil was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Darkey trial. See that one coming? Okay. So, oh, they forced maybe they forced evidence so she doesn't have to testify. That would make sense. SL9 incident. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year too. There was a terrible thunder on that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. And suddenly, a terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Darkey. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Big Marshall's brother. Joe Darkey tried to take me hostage. Before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. What happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. Permanent picture? I remember the moment when Darkey stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. It must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? I mean, provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known it was given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. That's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case, Lana was never the same. became cold like she is today. She must have not been able to face up what she did, especially not to Emma. Okay, what's the permanent picture? What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? He knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. While Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. Find the evidence to make it an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. See, I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. There's still something that bothers me about that crime. Something puzzling. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in the Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would this serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Darkey had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. Why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? Lana was the chief of prosecutor, wasn't she? Oh, silly. Didn't tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective. I'd better have another talk with her. Okay. Guess let's go to her. Move in the detention center. February 24. Okay. Hello, Lana? Mr. Wright. It seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I don't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing fall. Why should we? But Lana, you're wrong. An innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana? Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. How the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs. I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Today's trial. A lot of revelations were uncovered in the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well. Oh, I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you would always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. That trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. All drama aside, the fact of the matter is, 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Mrs. Starr, said? About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, it doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. Investigation. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating the arcade. Second in command? That means the investigation led was Damon Gaunt, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gaunt and I shared the same office, the same investigation. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and the Central Star, it was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. It was quite who. Without a doubt, Joe Darkey was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Darkey. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Okay? It's true, I was a member of the police 2 years ago. It was amazing. They still talked all about the cases as she and the Chief Gaunt cracked together. Chief Gaunt? He was the deputy chief of police back then. He still worked at the crime scenes. Damon Gaunt was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could be filed. Oh, really, I know this is her big sister. Now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I was planning on becoming prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes. You could use that experience in court, right? That's helping the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became the chief of police. I arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of 2 years ago. First one at the scene. Damon Gaunt and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Darkey that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Darkey must have suddenly panicked. We waited until Gaunt and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gaunt and myself. That's where he found me. You were the first person to run to the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gaunt and Marshall were questioning Darkey. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, the suspect, Joe Darkey. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Darkey had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. I blame her. After all, her sister must have gone through. For that, I placed Darkey under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You are all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. By chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Since his brother died, he's changed completely. Because he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Darkey. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live their literal lives with their memories. The case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Darkey at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gaunt and I shared. The office that Mr. Gaunt now occupies by himself, the chief's office. Maybe you should have a look at the chief's office, site of the final SL9 murder. Okay. No one's here today, not even Mrs. Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. It must be where the detectives are. We proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah, I thought you were finally making some headway in your case, but instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. We've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Okay. Where are we going now? Police department entrance, maybe? Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Sirrah. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when all belly dried up this morning. Hello. Must be Spet Cactus. Hey, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office. For a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us what exactly happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Market trial. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were consistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. Murder weapon? You mean switchblade knife with a broken tip? That was Joe Darkis, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. Question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a good chance the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. The facts have been concealed with forged evidence. That case left behind scars on all of us. Scars that SL9 incident left behind. Okay, Marshall. Look at the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made a detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, my brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? Knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place. That was the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the kids wouldn't die. Or did someone try to stop you? Detective Goodman was murdered. The evidence locker was empty. Scars. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Mrs. Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, commissioners would get suspicious. Oh, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. Eh? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Diamond Gant and Lana Sky. Not Sky. The The investigation led to Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Babina, but her secret is too well guarded. Never found out. Not a secret. It all started 2 years ago. There you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in the court today. The boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used self-falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? I don't blame you. I would even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. I'm gonna become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Alright. Well, I guess we're moving to somewhere else? I don't know. Where are we moving? I guess Criminal Affairs Department, and then we go to the head office. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. This must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks? Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying that what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we would like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Let's use the connecting hallway to the other building and take an elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? And we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can go in there. It's off limits. I'll see where Detective 𝐒𝐲𝐬 gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief office. Move to the chief's office. The fuck is this place? Oh, where am I? The chief's office, oh silly. At least that's what it said on the door. You got a pipe organ, that's real, isn't it? I used that organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Back. Thought I was genius. Never could remember where the C was. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. That paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I'm kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too. With Mr. Marshall's misconduct. Okay. And Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. How time falls. See that big picture on the wall there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil and me. This is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. looking at the picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. I got the photo added. Yes, I mean, the statue is still broken. I don't know when it was broken. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there's are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long been over. There's no way to investigate it anymore. Yeah, this guy looks guilty. Somehow he looks guilty. I don't know. Guilty of something at least. All the same, I would still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. So there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. Seems that case is not over with yet either. What do you mean? Chief Gunn denied our request to search the crime scene. It means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? Got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Okay. Guess we are going back to the department. Hey pal. Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥𝐬, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I am just taking a breather. My feet hurt. I'm sitting so long. Actually, I'm serving everyone coffee. Looks like Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥𝐬 is still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. Sounds like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? Basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Okay, let's talk to him. This. Why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Anaska is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. Now with this, so many people who hate him. In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes sir. Let's go out of the lunch today sometime, my treat. Yes sir. You gotta take me back to the joint sometime, okay Dick? Yes sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Cell 9 incident. Actually, I took a look at their file earlier. While the coffee was brewing, there seems genuine concern for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Darka left behind was during his final attack. Final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall who was trying to protect some girl? Me. It seems Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥𝐬 never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. What was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? Powers of recollection never failed to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. Might jog his memory. Okay. Yes, we can show him the murder weapon. This one. About this. Hey, is that There's a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When he showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what was it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. Murder weapon. This knife, it was Joe Darkey's, wasn't it? That's right. Traced it back to the store he bought it at, plus it had his fingerprints on it too. No one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway, you can guess where that broken tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside a stab wound. Did it match Darkey's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. Pretty conclusive. Okay, so this is what how they covered it up. They broke the knife inside of that body after he already stabbed him. There was another third-party person who hit the murderer. Yeah, so I don't know what actually happened, but yeah, we will figure it out. So about the crimes. Darkey was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. Businessman? What made him take the serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident? Accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. Animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. He walked by just then, so he killed him too. Joker came out of the scene and was killed as well. Finally turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. He turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Darkey was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. The last witness. AKA... Oh, wait. Maybe? No, I'm not sure yet, but maybe Gant ran after him into the office, and then he faked the kill even more or something. We'll see. I'm not gonna give any premature... Like, we need all the evidence before we do anything. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The Chief's out now and his office is locked. We would like to have a look around, if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'll be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'll be canned. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. It won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. we don't really have anything, so maybe go back here. Then move to Edgeworth because they were questioning him and they were attacking him or something. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? Sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live in the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Court evidence. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I do can erase that fact. You didn't know, did you? I mean, that evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility, and the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Tomorrow's trial. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I bet that's what my superiors are banking on. Never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I might not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect is guilty. It was really the only thing on my mind at the time. We just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture, something seemed strange about it. Hey, day of the crime. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? Never cared about ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip on the ceremony. Finish up the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. We finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends. Clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? Yes. Yeah. Steve Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? That's the real murder weapon, right? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed a half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. You came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to. That's right. Interesting. Let's present him to that picture because he was talking about it. This picture was hanging on the wall in the Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall, he had just been started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding is a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official Persecutor trophies looked like until 2 years ago. What's the story behind its design? Story? Nothing. It sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award was based on. Contradiction? Missing the sword. Was the sword used as the murder weapon? From this? Possible. Let's talk about it. Okay. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Long ago, in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those games contradict each other. Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard the story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very description of these items described them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. Thus, the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and the broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask 𝐒𝐩𝐞𝐜𝐬. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. 𝐒𝐩𝐞𝐜𝐬. Okay, interesting. Of course it was 2 years ago. What do we do now? Maybe we can check that paper he was throwing away. Wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Yeah, distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective 𝐒𝐬𝐞𝐜 at the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on. First, let me see what the girls are crawling under my feet. He didn't even look. What? Letter of... If you are having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says, letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean? I'm tired, Mr. Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. The path I walked hasn't been just one. I can forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Oh, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. Okay. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. Okay. Well, I guess let's move. Not again. Excuse me. Oh, she's back. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Mrs. Starr. I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Oh, I never thought he would go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the Silence incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can be all attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness? Instant, Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past they dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. You see Star's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Okay. Let's talk to her. Dark investigation. Joe Darkey, that's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall. Oh, must have been going through hell. I mean, because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by the legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. Okay, after case closed. The legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked how it turned out. You mean, with the forging of evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Darkey got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But we don't have proof anything illegal was done. Proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties, most without even so much as an explanation. Lana Skye transferred to prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used. Legendary duo. Diamond Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kind of cases together, didn't they? Diamond Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. Take it, she's talking about forged evidence. Then everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. He hated anything crooked, and always watched out for other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall? When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. See Star? That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Being used. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. Prosecutor's office. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? He could control the chief prosecutor. He could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. How could he use? How could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Mrs. Starr. Listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients. Great fine cuisine. I hope you turn to be a better chef than I've been. Okay. Let me move to police department and to him. Perhaps we have now the evidence we can show to Gad. Oh, you're back. You're still here? You gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? I'm not mistaken. I think it means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I'm gonna admire persistency, but my answer is still no. Not letting into the chief's office, period. It would be my neck on the line. The office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's got to be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Well, he likes Edgeworth very much, right? So he would let us go in. Right? What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. We just betrayed him. Detective. That's it. I've made up my mind. Here, take my ID card. You can't do that. If someone found out, I would let you off the hook for another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? Well, at least let me do this. For Mr. Edgeworth's case, sake. Alright, detective, thank you. Nice, now we can go to the office and actually try to figure out what happened. Okay, move to the chief's office. Here goes Mr. Wright. Click. Keep. We are in. If anyone finds us now, Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐬's a goner. If it happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Ah, Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐬. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. I came to. You're here, and what's the point of giving us your ID card? 𝐒𝐤𝐬's ID card crashed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card. Okay, I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. I figured I'll take a look. Besides, we are all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Well, if we were lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. Got a bad feeling about this. Chief's office. Desk on the other side of the room. Is that your sisters? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. That day 2 years ago. Anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. This is a strict policy on preserving the crime scene. It's a strange reason to leave it here. At least it is a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. Told us himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. See. Ever since Lana left, no one ever touched that desk. No one except Chief Gant, the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed. That incident. Can't possibly be any clues remaining. Okay, Chief Gant. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? It's one of those asinine crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... it wouldn't be... Oh... Oh, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay, now then, let's look around a bit more. Hold on, let's move fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. Don't just let it go at that. Sorry, this guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant. Let's finally come to this. Oh, he's definitely a suspect. He's in my eyes. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Let's examine the room. Oh, it's safe. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. Edward is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. Looks like code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. 7-digit number. I think I might just know what it is. Wait. Okay. Do I have any 7-digit number? Oh yeah, wait. Yes I do. 7 sevens. The only number I've never used for anything else. Stupid number. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. I want to try my birth rate. It's... Oh, I don't. I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Okay. Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 7777777. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. I mean, 77777? That ID number? Finger on the 17 shy this time. It can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Hey, anyone care to look inside? Yes. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a shard from a broken cup. That looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? Something else in here too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. It's a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. Think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh. Well, it was just thought. Is that it? Is this all that was in the safe? So, it's empty now. Piece of cloth with a handprint on it and a broken shard from a cup. Look like a pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, my neck on the line here. Great, now we have to prove their relevancy to them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's got to be something we can show the detective. Well, I can assemble this, right? Do I present it, or what do I do? Detective 𝐒𝐤�2, could you have another look at this jar? Remember when the trio was put it back together? Ah, those were the days. I'm forward to be nostalgic. Isn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards has an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know that fragment we just found? I mean, this one that was in the safe. That one. Ah. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Assemble. Here, let me see that chart. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what that rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. I can piece this together again. It'll prove Chief Gant was unknowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Okay, got it. There. It feels like a charm. That of course means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of his jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. Hey guys, get a load of this. Is it? This piece you just attached is different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. Reddish line. Blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? Okay. What about the... We can use fingerprint on that leather thingy. Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐤𝐬, I would like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. You want to take some fingerprints? Great idea, detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't time for jokes. We're talking about that cloak we found in the safe. Oh, hehe. Need that. One with the handprint on it, right? Gee, where's your sense of humor? Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check our prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Once they have been absorbed into the print, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Okay. I have given my best shot. That kind of result won't be any good for matching prints. Okay, we need a better finger. This one looks clearer. Yes. That looks similar with man. too similar. But Emma's guy, that's very similar. No, how can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match. Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. Not clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. What to do with dark prints? Hey, you, over here. What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Here, maybe you should hold on to this. Cloth, okay. But now that I have both of these, I guess we more things. What about this weapon? This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons. Where is pal? The chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? You are paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. I don't have any taxes to pay. Careful. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in his armor as we speak. I don't think he would fit in there. Even if he did, he would never be able to get back out. I doubt. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. Wow, look at the size of that cheap gun's desk. You know, Dad, when you were here earlier, what's you two? Chief Gant? Look at the paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases the list runs twice as long as this though. Look at the case name. Huh? Cell 9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said, I wonder what. Oh, about evidence list. Normally they are twice as long. That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. Half-side list of evidence. List of evidence. Seems too short. Most lists are twice as long. Okay, we're getting close, I feel. What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it, the chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. Okay, we got the list now. Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. But that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, we would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Eek. Chief Gant. I didn't think you would be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in the signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out the window and saw a stray dog run into a pole. Then I thought of a certain detective. You mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Oh, you in the coat? Yes, sir. Drop off your ID on the way out. I won't be needing it anymore. But, sir... Now get out. Yes, sir. We'll be on our way too, then. Wait, you're the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Yes, sir. I'd like a word with you. But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. With the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright? Look, pal, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. No, you just had to go sneak in there like that, didn't you? You said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it would be like this, never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gann was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. Why has she kept early silent about it all this time? Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. Well, she'll be busy for the rest of the day. Detention room. I see, so the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. No use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days, absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Yeah, I did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems 𝐒𝐸𝐿 was right. 𝐒𝐸𝐿? Once you are convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. 𝐒𝐸𝐞𝐜𝐬 is the term he used, I believe. Not my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. Keeping quiet. I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. I insisted you did it, but there was no incriminating evidence. When it hit me, it's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth, it's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. Intriguing notion. Certain individual, you say? You think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think I'm afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom I ask is this person you're speaking of? That's easy. The one I'm supposed to be so frightened of? Damon Gant, of course. Well, Mrs. Guy. Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Don't forget your place. I think she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he's respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and 𝐒𝐸𝐿 will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it though that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? 𝐒𝐸𝐿 didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. Except because I was second in command of that investigation. It's you, but also one other. Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. You can prove that Gant falsified evidence in that case. That's very easy. I have the jar. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. As you surmised, I cannot disobey Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Perhaps I should say follow orders. That's more accurate than cooperate. Orders. Although I can't tell you the details, I can can't say that I was given an order that day. I needed to dispose of the bruised Goodman's body. I'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Ah, now that makes sense. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you are not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The price lock was broken. And I discovered a murder weapon while inspecting the body. Murder weapon? I mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this knife was stuck in it. The knife from SLI incident, the serial killer Joe Darker's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him. I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be the Edgeworth's knife? That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. That is the reason for the bandage on your right hand? Yes. It seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then... she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. A star, huh? Why did you need to hide Darkin's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Darker case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't even want it opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So you hid Dark's knife? The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence of Joe Dark's escape. If word got out, which it would be, the reporters would have field day with that. You wrapped up the knife in your scarf and hid it. Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right. Then I called my sister. Tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma was so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. Bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. Phone call to Patrolman Cheek Marshall. Marshall? Why on earth would he call him? The investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden. I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. At least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean... not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card. It seems he still hasn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. My phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. Your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, give her an respect, right? Both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please. Don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. To get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. What went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. Okay. This is very interesting. This was a long episode, but next one shouldn't be as long, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. It was really cool, and next time we can finally finish this murder mystery. So, thanks for watching, see you next time!